Welcome back to another video, and welcome to WWE 2K25's Universe Mode. In this video, we are going to be going over the Universe Mode that I'm setting up for the channel. I'm going to be going over the show schedule, the shows themselves, the roster size, championships, tag teams, settings, all of that good stuff. But up first, before I show anything, I just want to go ahead and jump into our options menu here and show off the settings that I'm going with. So for the current playstyle, you have Classic Mode and you have Superstar Mode. For this, we'll be doing Classic Mode. I do plan on doing a Superstar Mode for the channel. Intergender Wrestling, this is something that's new to 2K25. You can turn this on or off. Right now, we have this on. It really doesn't affect our show a lot because I've kind of split the men's and the women's between Raw and SmackDown. But there are a few things that it does affect, and I'll explain those when I get there. Automatic Rivalries on. If you've watched any of my Universe modes before, I usually turn Automatic Rivalries on and just let the game go as it is. If you want to play Universe mode and basically you're the booker or you're the GM and you want to do everything, I recommend turning this off because this can mess you up. I'm going to leave it on because I kind of like the randomness and the silliness. For tag team breakups and formations, I turn this off. And the reason I turn this off is because in WWE 2K24, this either didn't work, or when it did work, it was just goofy as hell. So I have it off for now. I'm not sure if it works in this game yet. I haven't really tested it. If it does work, I wouldn't mind coming back to turn this on, but for right now, it's off. Crowd reaction changes, I leave this on. This is so superstars can change between face and heel. This setting really doesn't mean a whole lot to me because I play with the sound pretty low, so I can't hear crowd reactions anyway, but I'll just leave it on just because, yeah, it's whatever. Injuries, however, one of the most annoying features in any sports game. I instantly turn this off in every sports game that I play. If I load up Madden and I start a new franchise, I'm turning the injuries off immediately. And if I load up WWE, I'm turning the injuries off because it's just annoying, man. Like, imagine you're in a feud and then all of a sudden one of the dudes gets injured and you're like, oh, okay. Completely takes the wind out of your sails. So yeah, I turn this off in every game. Superstar entrances, I'm going to leave this on. I usually don't leave entrances in the Universe mode because it's the same thing every time and I can't leave the music in anyway or I'll get copyright stricken. I'll leave it on, but you guys probably won't see the entrances because I'll cut them out. All right, for the AI cash-in rate. For the announced one, I turn this all the way off. That's because essentially what happens if you have somebody win the Money in the Bank, they will announce their cash-in. So instead of running in, cashing in, winning the title, they'll say, hey, I want a match. Like RVD and John Cena at One Night Stand. RVD said, hey, at One Night Stand, I want a match for the WWE title. I don't really like when that's announced. I think the fun of the Money in the Bank is when you cash in out of nowhere and win the title. And that goes to the new setting. So mid-match cash in, I'm going to leave that at the default, which is 5. And then for post-match, I will also leave that at the default at 5. Universe tutorials, I have turned that off. I've played a lot of Universe mode over the years. I don't think I need a tutorial. And if I do, I mean, that's what YouTube for is, right? I don't really need the game to tell me. And then you have an option at the bottom to reset your Universe mode. Maybe you mess something up or you want to start all over. You can do that there. One thing that I think is new, I'm not sure if it was in 2K24, at least if it was, I never saw it, is if you look at the bottom here, if you press X on the controller, I'm using an Xbox controller, by the way. I'm playing on PC, but I'm using Xbox controller. But if you press the X button at the bottom, it actually brings up your gameplay settings. So you can actually change your gameplay settings from here without having to back out of Universe mode, which is a great quality of life feature. It's such a simple thing, but actually this is awesome. I'm not going to go too into my gameplay settings as for the sliders here because I'm going to do a separate video on those where I can kind of explain things more. But I will go through the general settings here. So the difficulty, I'm going to actually turn this up to hard. I haven't done a lot of testing with the sliders in this game yet. But in 2K24, I had the difficulty set to hard. That's where the AI, I feel, was the most competitive and did the most in the matches. So that's what I'm going to set that as. Weight detection, I believe, well, this all has to be default. Well, no, I changed some things. Anyways, I think weight detection starts off at simulation by default. So we're just going to leave that there. Your other options are arcade. And that's basically like if you want Rey Mysterio to pick up and slam Andre the Giant, you turn it on arcade. If you don't want him to do that, you turn it on simulation. Stamina mode, I believe this defaults to normal. We're just going to leave it at that. Submission minigame, default. Pin minigame, also default. A pin minigame, lock after first finisher. We're going to turn that off. Essentially what this means is after a superstar hits the finisher, it locks you out of kicking out at 1, which is kind of lame because, like, Kickouts at 1 are incredibly common, not only in wrestling nowadays, but they also just insanely hype the crowd up. I mean, look at any Kenny Omega match. When he kicks out at 1, the crowd goes fucking crazy. So we're going to turn that off. Trading blows. I've actually done a little bit of testing with this and it works a lot better in my opinion than it did last year, so I'm going to leave that on for right now. If it gets annoying and starts happening in every match, I'll probably end up turning that off. Chain wrestling. This is a new feature. Well, new in quotes. It's existed in wrestling games before, but they took it out for a while and added it back. You got to love yearly sports titles, am I right? So we're going to leave that on. I haven't done a whole lot of testing on this, but I have been looking at some videos on Twitter of kind of like people going crazy with it, and it looks like you can do a lot with it, so I'm going to leave that on. Allowed held input for minigames. We're going to leave that off. Automatic rope break is on. I know in last year's game, sometimes the AI would be right near the ropes, and they just wouldn't grab the ropes, or they would, yeah. So we're just going to turn that on. Auto reversal for ground attacks. I don't know what this means, man. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know what that means, but I think it's on by default, so we'll just leave it there. Entrance run-in. I believe these are all default. I didn't change any of those. For blood, the game actually turns off blood by default, so you have to go in the settings yourself and turn blood on. If you've been playing the game and you've been thinking, damn, it's kind of hard to draw blood in this game, I can't do it, that's probably because the game has turned it off and you haven't realized you have to go turn it on. Subtitles, we have those turned off. Subtitles really don't do anything for universe mode. I mean, they added promos, but the promos have no text or voiceover, so there's no point for subtitles. Tutorial tips, we have that turned off as well. I've been playing these games forever. I don't really need tutorials. Edited and created superstars, of course, you want this on allowed. So if you're dialing anything off the community creations and you have this off, you won't be able to use it. As for right now, we have no cause in this universe mode, and that's because the actual release of the game isn't till later this week. I bought the early version of the game, so the community creations aren't completely filled up yet with great cause, but once they are, you will definitely see some appear, especially things like Penta and Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay and all those guys. I'll put all those guys in here. Allow for instant recovery. I leave this on because I think it's funny as shit. I think it's funny as shit when you hit somebody with a move and they get right back up like nothing fucking happened. That shit is funny to me, so I left this on. Allow for possum attack. This is when you're going up to somebody while they're on the ground and they fucking kick you in the head and shit, and yeah, I leave that on because I also think that's kind of funny. Allow for possum pin. This will be like where you can get like a schoolboy or a small package roll up. Leave that on. I believe these are all on by default as well, so allow for ring escape as well. We'll leave that on. And like I said, you can actually do all your settings here. So here's your presentation options, here's your balancing, here's your targeting, and here's your advanced. As you can see, I haven't took the deep dive into my settings just yet, but when I do, I'll be posting a separate video for those. All right, now let's check out how the actual universe mode is going to be set up. So first, we're going to head over to our shows here. So this is how you will set up your shows. If you want to delete Raw or delete SmackDown, as you can see, I've deleted NXT. The reason for that is it would be nice to have 3 brands. I like having 3 brands, but for making videos and posting universe mode videos, at least the way I do them, having 3 shows is a lot. And I can also see it on the back end on my analytics. Like the video just completely dies at one point. Like it's a lot of matches to put in one video when you have 3 brands. So we're just going to work with the good old classic Raw and SmackDown. I say classic, but these are the new Raw and SmackDowns. So what we're going to do, we'll jump into Raw and kind of show you what's going on. So for the show details, this is all default. I didn't change anything here. I kind of like Raw's presentation now. I like the logo. I like how the ring looks. I'm a big fan of black mats in a wrestling ring. I think rings look so good with a black mat. So I love the way Raw looks right now. So I didn't change any of that. As for participants, we've got a hefty number here. So this is not default. I have went through and done all the rosters. And one thing I will show about the rosters, and I just realized this literally just now while I'm recording, is that I was showing you the all screen, and this is every superstar. But if you go over, if you click the shoulder buttons on the controller, you can actually sort it by brand. Now, if this was in 2K24, I never knew this because I was individually searching through just the all screen. So if this was in there, I'd look stupid, but if this is a new feature, incredible there. As well as you can see, so AJ Styles here is on Raw. So just from this screen, just pressing the D-pad buttons here, you can see that I can switch his shows. So if I want to switch AJ to SmackDown, I can switch him to SmackDown. Or I can switch him back over to Raw. Universe mode didn't get a huge bunch of changes this year, but they did get some small quality of life changes, which I definitely appreciate. All right, so let's exit out of SmackDown, and let's go back to Raw and show you how things are set up over on Raw. For the number of matches, I've left this to 4, and that's because we have 4 championships, so assuming, as well as in the rivalry screen, you can only have 4 rivalries per show. Makes sense to me, have 4 matches per show. For the match table, I am still setting this up currently. This is not finished. As you can see, I've just kind of spammed a bunch of matches on the card here. I'm still setting this up and kind of figuring out how this works. I know for most of 2K24 and even 2K23, like some of these were broken. Like if you chose a championship match, it would always do the championship match. If you did the rivalry match, it would always do those. They were hella glitchy. So I'm still working on this, like I said. But once I do figure it out, I might make a separate video just on match tables. All right, and now let's take a look at our championships. You can see them on the below there, but let's go dive in. So for the WWE Championship, this is actually a community creation, and you can check the description. I will leave the creator's name in the description because I don't know it off the top of my head. But if you'd like to download this and use it in yours, you can do that as well. If you are playing the game right now, there's not that many community creations uploaded for championships. I believe this is on the very first page, on the most downloaded tab, so it's not hard to find. So yeah, we have the WWE Championship as our top title, of course. The Intercontinental Championship. One thing I will say, the championships in this game, and maybe it's just me, but they look kind of washed out. Like, they're not as shiny as they could be. Like, if you look at this one, it has some shine to it. But if you go to the one that's in-game, it really doesn't have, like, a luster to it. It's kind of washed out. I'll probably be replacing these as people upload more community creations and start making their own. But for right now, we're just using some of the in-game ones. The World Tag Team titles as well. I think the World Tag Team titles actually look really good, the new design. So I left that in as well. And then another community creation we have here that I've slightly edited, so it's not exactly it. I saw a hardcore championship on the community creations, and I downloaded it. It had like a blood texture all over it. So I kind of fixed it up here. I made it kind of beat up. Added the hardcore champion thing, but kind of made it look like some caution tape. And as well, on the right side, you can see I put the old WWE logo in the side plate and kind of tilted it so it looks like it's kind of beat up and fucked up a little bit. I love how this looks, honestly. So that'll be our 4 championships on Raw, as well as the Money in the Bank. And you can see here, there is an empty slot here. There will also be an empty slot on SmackDown, and I will leave this up to you guys. If you all want an extra championship on each show, let me know in the comments which championships you would like, and I'll probably pick the one with the most upvotes. All right, and now let's head over to SmackDown and kind of check out what's going on. So for the show details, again, I believe this is all default. I didn't change anything here, and that's because I kind of wanted the universe mode to have a little more modern look to it. I did add some like old superstars and of course just random stuff to universe mode, but I did want the shows to kind of look more modern. For the participants here, we have way more participants than we did on Raw. I say way more. I think it's like 6 or 7 more. Not that much more. Same number of matches because we only have 4 championships. Again, I did leave a slot open, so if we do get another championship on the show, I will change the number of matches to 5. For our match table, I actually haven't set up SmackDown's match table yet. It'll probably mirror Raw's for the most part. I just edited Raw's because, like I said, I'm still figuring out kind of how the match table works, so I didn't want to have 2 things to edit instead of just making one and then copying it over. For our championships, now this is the same world championship we had on Raw. I just made the strap white for the women's, of course, because in WWE, women's titles are white. And that goes with the theme of SmackDown too, because SmackDown will be themed more around the women. And our secondary title and our tag team title will also prove that. So for our secondary title, we have the Women's United States Championship, and we have the Women's Tag Team Championship. Now, you might be asking, how did I get the Women's Tag Team Championship? How did I get the white strap on this? You just go into the creation mode for the championships, and you can edit all the championships that are in the game, and you just change the strap color to white and make it for the women's. It's really easy, and I think the SmackDown Tag Team Championships just look better than the women's tag titles do, so I just made them the women's tag titles. And last up, just like Raw has the hardcore division that's exclusive, SmackDown will get an exclusive cruiserweight division. And like I said, there is an empty 5th slot. If you guys want to leave a comment down below of what championship you would want to see on SmackDown, you can do that. All right, and now let's head over to our calendar. We'll take a look at the schedule, and then we will jump into the tag teams. I'll go through them, and then we can head to the actual draft. So pretty standard here. I didn't really change much about this. This is all scheduled to change, though. Any of this can change at any moment how I like it. This is just pretty much how it starts off as default. So on Monday, of course, we got Raw. Friday, we got SmackDown. I've deleted NXT, and I've deleted all the NXT pay-per-views, of course, because I won't be needing them. One thing I can't figure out is why the King and Queen of the Ring is blurred out. I really don't know why I can't. It's inactive. I guess that's something I'll have to look into. But scrolling through here, you can see I've left pretty much everything. There's actually an NXT show right there I didn't catch. Let's delete that. One thing about the Universe mode as well, as you can see, is you can have pay-per-views on 2 nights, just like WWE does now. You can also have shows on the same day, so you could actually have 2 Saturday shows. If you take a look at King of the Ring here, you can see it says 1 out of 2, and there's 2 shows here. So we got Queen of the Ring and King of the Ring on the same night. Super good change there. Really appreciate that. But otherwise, going through, everything will look kind of standard. There's another NXT event we can get rid of. Like I said, I will be adding pay-per-views to this as well, so we just have more events. I'm going to add things in the middle of the week, like special events and stuff, just to add more dynamic stuff to the Universe mode. See, there's nothing in December. I'll probably add a show here. And the rest of it, it just pretty much follows the W schedule all the way up until WrestleMania. When we get some good WrestleMania 41 arenas, I will probably switch this over to WrestleMania 41. All right, I have done a lot of yapping, but I am not done yet because we are going to hop into the tag teams. We're going to see what we're working on, and then we can head over to the draft. So a lot of the tag teams here are going to be custom. However, I did leave some. As you can see, just starting off, we've got DIY. We've got the APA, JBL, and Farouk. I don't know if Bradshaw is in the game. If he was, I didn't see him. But otherwise, we're just going to use JBL. We've got the Authority. Pretty much Evolution, but with Stephanie McMahon instead of Ric Flair. Another thing that's unique about the Universe mode is when you're setting up tag teams, you can actually have a split off of a faction. So you can see here the Authority is the overall faction. However, Batista and Randy Orton are the tag team from this faction. This is honestly one of the best changes in the whole game this year. I'm not sure how this functions like in Universe mode yet, but just menu-wise, this is awesome. Bianca and Jade Cargill. We've got the Bloodline, and then Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa as the tag team. Undertaker and Kane, they are not assigned to a show yet, but at any moment, the Brothers of Destruction could show up. It just depends on when I want to insert them. Damage Control with the Kabuki Warriors, the Dudley Boys, Fraxium, the good old Hart Foundation, one of my favorite tag teams of all time. I mean, look at these dudes, man. This is a real group of motherfuckers here. We've got the Headbangers, currently not on a show either. But like I said, just like with the Brothers of Destruction, I can insert them at any time. Katana Chance, Caden Carter. We've got the League of Nations, Sheamus, Wade Barrett, and Drew McIntyre. Maybe when the community creations start picking up, we can add Rusev to this as well. New Catch Republic. We've got the New Day without Big E. Pure Fusion Collective. The Regal family. So this is Charlie Dempsey and William Regal. If you didn't know, Charlie Dempsey is Regal's son. I love setting up family tag teams. You know, when I was growing up in wrestling, it was around like the late Attitude Era. And like a theme of the Attitude Era is everybody had to be a family to be a tag team for some reason. Like Undertaker and Kane were brothers. Edge and Christian were brothers. Like you just had to be family. So it's just a trope that's been burned into my head over the years. So I just went ahead and set that up. We've got another one, the Rhodes family. This is the easy layup here. Maybe when we get a Goldust call, we can add Goldust to this as well. Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. This is a tag team that I've used a lot just playing Universe mode by myself. The Street Profits, the most base tag team of all time, Team 420. I mean, look at this team, man. RVD and Rey Mysterio. Like, this is incredible. The only way to make this better is if you added, like, Jeff Hardy to this team. This team with Jeff Hardy would actually be insane. We've got the Usos here. They've kissed, made up. They realized they had a terrible match at WrestleMania 40, and they want everybody to forget it, so they are a tag team again. A little bit of lore for you there. We've got the War Raiders, one of my favorite tag teams in current day WWE. I think these dudes are so fucking underrated, it's criminal. The War Raiders are awesome, and I mean, just look at these guys, man. These are big fuckers. How can you not like two big fuckers in a tag team? Next up, we've got the Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan, Braun Strowman, one of my favorite factions in WWE of all time. And with that being said, I think WWE completely dropped the ball with the Wyatt family. Like, WWE at the time just did not have the creative to pull off something at the height that the Wyatt family needed to be. That being said, they were awesome, incredible, all-time tag team, but they could have been like all-time generational tag team if the writing team was a little bit better or if they showed up in Triple H's current WWE. And last up, we've got the three faces of Foley: Mankind, Dude Love, and Cactus Jack. I believe Mick Foley just by himself is in the game as well as a manager, so I might just make him a manager in this tag team. But for right now, this is just the three faces of Foley. All right, and that's how I have set up the universe mode for the channel. Like I said, we do have 2 empty championship slots, one on Raw and one on SmackDown. So let me know in the comments what titles you would like to see added to each show, if any. I mean, we could just add none and keep it at 4 matches. That's fine with me. I feel like 4 matches is a sweet spot for videos, but if you guys want extra matches, let me know in the comments, and I will pick the ones that get the most upvotes. But with that being said, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed me showing off the universe setup, kind of what we're going to be working with. Make sure you stay tuned for the next video, which will be our draft episode, and that'll be us just randomly selecting people, having matches, and see who will be our champions to start off the universe mode. But other than that, yeah, that's going to do it. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.